Tetris Effect Connected has a zone mechanic in which the cleared lines accumulate on the board until the zone ends, and then followed by a burst attack based on how the zone was used. I've noticed by playing this game for quite a while now within the community that it is not very well understood how that zone attack is calculated. So I've made some analyses and we're going to go over it here. First, there are two types of zones in multiplayer modes, the 1v1 zone battle zone and the 3v1 connected zone. So let's start with the 1v1 zone, because that one is the most straightforward. The total zone attack in 1v1 is a sum of the individual clears within the zone and the flat bonus based on the total number of lines and how full the gauge was when the zone was entered. For example, if your zone gauge is full and you clear 4 back-to-back Tetrises in a zone and nothing else, you'll send 4 times 5 attacks for the back-to-back Tetrises, so 20 attack, plus 24 bonus attack for clearing 16 lines within the zone. Your total zone attack will therefore be the sum of that, which is 44. The bonus decreases quite significantly when the gauge isn't full. With a half gauge, that bonus drops to 16, and a quarter gauge gives only 11. So entering zone with a full gauge will produce a stronger attack, but it will take more time too. You can find that table, by the way, in the description of the video. I put a few links there. It's also important to know that fuller zone gauges will send much bigger spikes instead of a more fragmented load of garbage. Anything above a 10-line zone will send a 15-line spike to the opponent, plus other garbage lines. Of course, unless they counter part of that. So all in all, yes, it's important to go for as many lines as you can within the zone, but how you clear them also matters a lot. Combos, Tetrises, T-spins, and possibly all clears will significantly increase your attack. Let's take a look at this incredible 108 attack curb twist zone that was played by Japanese player Araki this past January. As you could see here, that zone was packed with heavy hitter clears. Perfect clears are unmatched for their attack power, and there were 4 in that sequence. To my knowledge, this is the biggest zone attack ever achieved in a ranked match to this date. In Connected Versus now, pretty much everything is different. I couldn't find the details online because the mode has been rebalanced over time, so I actually went through a lot of recent Twitch stream VODs from my channel and some others to collect the data myself. By the way, thanks Red Lyra for playing this mode so much. I also searched for some recent top player highlights to cover the upper end of the spectrum, and I finally figured out what the formula is. So this is valid in early 2024. I cannot, of course, guarantee that there won't be any more rebalancing in the future, but hopefully not. So here's the base attack table. This is the starting point. For example, if you collectively clear 18 lines in a connected zone, you're starting with a base attack of 124. Notice how it increases gradually up to 18 and then starts increasing way more for 19 and 20 lines, which are trickier to get. It is possible to clear more than 20 lines in a connected versus zone, but I didn't have enough data to determine the base attack for those. If you witness any of those crazy zones, please share the info in the comments below so I can add it to the database later. Now, the lines cleared by the initial cascade add a little bit of a penalty. For each of those lines, 4 attacks are subtracted from the base attack. So an 18-line zone that doesn't have any cascade line clears will be stronger than one that does. Then for each cycle, or each additional zone if you want, a multiplier is applied. The first zone in the game gives no bonus. The second zone has a multiplier of 1.15 or a 15% bonus. The third has a multiplier of 1.5, and the fourth has a multiplier of 2, which is double the first zone. Once again, I did not find enough recent games with 5 or more zones to get a proper estimate, so I welcome your contribution here. However, 99.9% of the games have less than 5 zones anyway, so I think this gives a good snapshot of how it works. And finally, there's another multiplier based on the number of players alive during the zone. It's 0.25 for 1 player, 0.6 for 2 players, and a neutral 1 for 3 players. So in the end, the connected zone attack is calculated based on the total number of lines cleared in the zone, the total number of cascade lines cleared when entering the zone, the number of zones, and the number of players alive during the zone. That's right. Whether you clear lines using T-spins, Tetrises, singles, or using magic blocks that knock the whole column down in the zone does not matter in this mode. Let's check this example here. 3 players were alive during the zone. 9 lines got cleared with the initial collapse. This was the second zone of the match, and we cleared a total of 18 lines within the zone. Plugging the numbers in, we get 101.2, which rounds down to 101 attack. Keep in mind that speed is also important to not give your opponent too much time to defend against your attack. In some cases, a quick 17-line zone can be more effective than taking 5 extra seconds to figure out how to push it to 19. And that applies in both connected and zone battle zones. So that's it. 2 different zones and 2 very different ways the zone attack is calculated. I hope that helps those who are wondering whether it's worth it to push it to 18 or 19 lines in connected zones, or to wait for full gauge and go for T-spins and Tetrises in the zone battle. If you have questions or comments, please write them below, and as usual, if you like the content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Good luck and have fun!